RipTideX. You'll notice when you first load this that the signals will stop after 100 bars. That's because it's set to a default of 100 bars. After you go back 100 bars, it clears those signal labels to help reserve computer resources. If you get too many chart objects on the chart, eventually it's going to cause lag, so we just clean them up. So if you're going to be doing some back testing or whatnot, probably the first thing you do is change that. So right here, hide signals after X bars. 0 means you don't hide them at all. So if I hit that, you can see all the signals popping up now. Let's get into it. So the background, this is the background color. So the background changes color based on an ATR. So there's a moving average ATR, and there's invisible bands that sit around the candles. And once it breaks that ATR, the background changes color. So that's an ATR indicator, the background color. And you can change the color and you can change the opacity. So if you want it nice and dark, go 100. You know, it's going to hurt your eyes. Whatever you want. Sync signals with background. So this option will sync the bearish and bullish signals with the background. So you'll only get a bullish signal if the background's also green to agree with it. And same thing with the bearish. You're only going to get those if the background agrees with it. You can turn that on and off if you want. Very simple. Usually doesn't change a whole lot, but the option's there if you want it. And you can just turn the signals on and off. So if you only want a certain type of signal, turn them on, turn them off. They're all based on different calculations, so I can't get into the math behind them because it's too complex, but you just look at them and you'll see the shift signals usually are first in a trend. The continuations are usually later on. So this is a perfect example. The trend first changes, you get a bear shift, and then later on, once it's more confirmed, generally you're going to get the continuation. And sometimes when you get them both in the same spot, you get a power shift. So in this instance, you would have got a shift and a continuation in one spot. So instead you see the power shift signals. That's what those are. And they're all usable by the bot. So you double click them, they all have a name, TS By label. So you can see them all there, power cell. So I'll get into the bar color. The bar colors change automatically. You'll notice the bars come down, but they don't turn red traditionally, like you'd see on a normal chart. It's based on a moving average. So the color of the candles is based on the moving average. And you'll notice the outline changes color too. That's based on the slope of stochastics. So if stochastics is sloping up, you're going to get a green outline. If stochastics is sloping down, you're going to get a red bar outline. So there's a lot of indicators kind of built into RipTide. This is like the big thing that I use to trade with. A lot of little nuances. We'll get into these. These are MFI prints. Money flow indicator, if you're familiar with that, you should get familiar with it. And this basically tells you when money flow drops below the midline. Basically 45 gets a little bit below the midline. You're going to see a red one. If money flow goes up to about 55, you're going to see a green one. So that just tells you where the money flow is. If it's above the center by a bit or below the center by a bit. You can change the MFI sensitivity as well. So if you want a 20 period money flow indicator, it's going to change how the signals print. If you want it based on a 5 period, you're going to get a different print out of it. It's usually going to be faster. You wouldn't go much more than 30 if you did, and you can see the number of prints is greatly reduced. They're good for exit signals, so if you were to get in on this bullish power shift, you would set the bot to get out on an MFI low. And you see here I would have taking you out at a really nice spot on this trade. That's how I use that with the bot. Ghost signals. I can't show you this unless I go into market replay. So you can turn them on and off. What these are is they're a little dot, and they're going to show up before a continuation signal. So continuation signals only happen on a bar close. The other ones will happen any time. And what will happen is before the continuation label comes up, you're going to see a little dot. It'll be pink for a short and baby blue for a long. And you'll see this dot turn on and off, on and off, on and off. That just gives you a heads up that, hey, when this bar closes and that little pink dot is still there, you're going to get a continuation label. It's telling you that all the conditions are met for a continuation signal. The last condition that needs to be met is the bar to close. So it just gives you a heads up. When the bar closes, you're going to get a continuation signal if it's still on. You know, the conditions change within the building of the bar. So you'll see the ghost signal come on, come off, come on, come off. So that's what that's about. And you can, these are offsets. So just like you can change how far away from the candle. So 24, so we'll do like, 40 and watch the labels, see how they come further away. That's what that's for. And then there's the arrow. So if you want the arrow to come further away, you'll see these triangles and these arrows move away as I change this. Max back wick percentage. So this is just an option for the signal. So how much of a back wick can your candle have for this signal to be valid? In this case, I have no back wick. So what that means is for any of these signals to print, for a bullish shift or a continuation, for these to print, there cannot be a back wick on this candle. It cannot wick back. It has to be a strong bullish candle with no back wick at all. But if you want a little one, you can. So let's say you're okay with maybe, 20%. That means whatever the size of the candle is, it can have a 20% back wick, and it'll still print the signal. So that's all that really means, because these signals they look for a really strong directional candle, and part of a strong directional candle is not having much of a back wick. But you can adjust that how you like. Depending on the candle type, it'll change. With GammaBars, it's usually just 0. But with Heikin-Ashi, I'll do maybe 10 or 15% myself. So there's quite a few things built into RipTide. It's like an all-in-one kind of indicator in a way. You have moving averages, 1, 2, 3. You can turn them on. You have your moving averages. I have an indicator called SupremeXcastics. I use that instead of these, but what you can do is you can filter the signals. So if you wanted to filter signals by moving average 1, you can do that. And let's say we'll do like 100 period. So the 100 moving average, I can just show you it here. You'll notice that the candle has to be below that 100 for bearish to print, and it has to be above for bullish. So that's going to split. You only see how we're below. You're only going to see bearish signals until we come above that 100 moving average. And that'll be the same for all the moving averages. So 1, 2, 3. You can turn them on, filter, turn them on, filter. Right? Change them to whatever. If you want a 200 moving average or 1,000 moving average, whatever you want. VWAP. You can turn VWAP on. You do not need order flow plus for this VWAP. NinjaTrader doesn't have a VWAP built in, so that's a bonus about this, is you can have VWAP without order flow plus. There it is. And just like the moving averages, we can filter signals by VWAP. So of course, you're only going to get short signals below VWAP, and you're only going to get valid long signals above VWAP. So that's more of a trend following option. Lightning trend. So lightning trend is like, it's like super trend. some people call it, but with momentum built in. So it's super trend plus momentum. I call it lightning trend. And the theme continues. You can turn them on. And you can also filter signals by LT1, lightning trend 1. Turn them on. And you have all your settings here. So if you want to change the momentum period, if you want to change the ATR period, and then the multiplier. So you can play with those settings to put them how you like. So I've got them all on, and I've got signals filtered by them. So you'll see the lightning trend lines come in. And of course, since I have 1, 2, and 3 filtered by signals, you're only going to see short signals below the third one and long signals above the third one. And all of them actually, but so that's the way that goes. So if you like super trend, you like this momentum based super trend. Okay. Let's turn all these off, clean it up. Okay, now we have support and resistance. So this just marks areas of support and resistance, or pivot points, I guess you could say. Some people call them pivots. So you see here's a pivot high, pivot high, pivot high. Blue, pivot low, pink. And if it's been broken, it goes away. So right here would have been a pivot high. But since it got broke right here, it went away. And here's the next pivot high. You can see above and below where they are, the most recent ones. And just gives you a visual of where the pivots are. I keep it nice and wide because it's more of a range. So that's how I like to use it. Now you can change the strength of it. So if you look at the swing strength 6, that's what I have for default. That's a good medium. If you were to do something higher, like say, well, I don't know, 40, it's got to be a real big pivot before it's going to mark it. So you'll see here, you know, there's a little pivot there, it didn't mark it. There's a little one there. There's a lot less pivots. There's some here. It didn't mark them because they're not strong enough. So you can change how strong that pivot needs to be before you're going to see. So now you can see there's only 3 of them on the chart, right? And then, of course, if I bring it back down to, I don't know where it was, 6, I guess it was. You can see there's many more, right? And you can bring it down even more if you like a messy chart. And that's that. So just a good way to mark pivots. You can obviously, you can change the opacity of it too. So if you just want something nice and light, you might do like just an 8%, just something real nice. So it's not in your way, keeps your chart clean. But if you know it's there, you know what it is, and it's something that you can use. Ignore these. And basically ignore all these settings. Just the way it's coded. Use these settings if you want to change the color of things. These are the moving MA1, 2, and 3. If you want to change the colors of that, MA1, 2, and 3. So yeah, you'll use these. It's just the nature. Same with VWAP. It's just the nature of how I had to code it. And this was only ever coded for myself, and other people found interest. So you know, it may not be perfect. It's just something that I built for myself that I like, and it seems like other people are interested. So I'll share it. Why not? So that's basically RipTide in a nutshell. But I don't use it by itself. I use all my indicators together, and I'll show you how I do it. So I like to use the XCastics, so I'll turn them on. I like the MomoMeter, and I like the Moving Average Cloud, Super Moving Average. And I do like my lightning trends. So this is how I'm going to use it. If anybody's curious about how I qualify a trade or how I use my system, I'll just show you a setup. So I trade reversals. So for me, this would be a perfect setup right here. That one right there. Why? Okay. We had a big push down. All right. So I didn't mean to put that. And I'm seeing money flow and stochastics slam to the bottom, all the way oversold. I like to see that. I like to see R squared all the way at the top. Doesn't matter if it's a long or a short. The top means really good price action, really clean and tight. I'm looking for same thing with stochastics. I don't want them to be messy and intertangled. I want them to be nice and clean. Over here, this is intertangled. I don't want to see that. I want to see them nice and clean. That's a setup for me. I see a volume spike on that little dot right at the bottom. I see volume has spiked. Up top, right from the pivot, as we start going, you can see momentum is starting to come up. It's starting to shift. We're seeing a shift in momentum. You know, I'm watching. Okay, there's the reversal candle, top and bottom wick. Top and bottom wick. That's a reversal candle every time, right? That's your reversal candle. You know it every time. So you get the reversal candle. You get a candle in the next direction. Okay, I'm watching. I've seen stochastics. I've seen everything at the bottom do what I want. I'm seeing here's the next candle at the reversal. Reduce momentum. Next candle. Reduce momentum. Next candle. Reduce momentum. We're starting to see the moving averages shift. The signal comes in. And what do I see on the bottom? I'm starting to see stochastics come up. I'm starting to see the money flow change. It's above 50. And that's what I look for. I look for R squared to be reduced, but that doesn't matter. It's more about having it topped out at the reversal point. And this is going to be what I trade. That would be my trade. And I might even front run it if I was trading manually. But that's a perfect setup for me. It's seeing the stochastics and the money flow more or less slammed at the bottom. I get the reversal candle. I start to get a few candles in my direction. I see the momentum starting to shift. The signal comes in. I take it, stop, 2 candles back, target, 2 candles forward, 3 candles forward. That's it. That's my trade. Just in case anybody's wondering how I trade this. Do I see any more? I'm just looking at the bottom. So I'm looking to see if there's any more setups. This could be one. Money flow went down, but the stochastics were too tangled. No. I don't see, I'm just looking down here at the bottom. No, see the stochastic was lagging behind there. Right here could have been one. I might have taken that one. It would have been a loss, but I might have taken it. So that's how I use this. That's RipTide. See you on the next one.